Hello, my soapy friends, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you that are new here, my name is Lissa, also known as the Soap Chef on this channel, where we make all things with a rather good lather. I've been a maker in this industry for over 2 decades. We are a 3D bath bomb mold supplier, and my favorite products to make, of course, are bath bombs. But that's enough about me. Let's get right into the video. Hello, my soapy friends, and welcome back to my sister channel. In today's episode, we are going to be doing some bath bomb mold demonstrations on a few types of different molds that people are having quite a bit of problems trying to mold and unmold. Most of it is because they're beginners and they're just not familiar with working with these molds, and so they're uncomfortable doing it. So we're going to be doing a multi-press tablet mold. We're going to be doing the hearts, conversation hearts, which have a bunch of different plates on the bottom with different sayings, a hybrid mold of a bathtub with heart bubbles. I believe we're going to be doing an F-bomb, which is also a hybrid. But let's just go over to Creation Station. We'll get to work real quick on making these bath bombs, doing the demos on them, taking you step by step on what to do, how to do it, what not to do. And if I could ask you guys anything, it would be, please, please, please be patient when you are making your bath bombs. If you are impatient, if you are in a hurry, if you go in there with a naysayer attitude that this sucks, I'm not going to be able to do it, these molds suck, the bath bomb mix sucks, I suck. Stop all that negativity, you guys. Don't go into it with that type of an attitude, okay? You absolutely can do this. I'm going to show you in just a moment how you can do this. But bear in mind that if you're a beginner, it's gonna take time, you guys. If you have never worked with a 3D bath bomb mold ever, working with multis is not the way to go right out of the gate. I would skip that altogether, you know what I mean? Start with a donut, start with a waffle, start with a small round sphere. Master those really simple type of molds first before you go diving into multi-molds, because it does take some practice. Those molds are for advanced makers, not for beginners. Doesn't mean that you can't do it, but you're just going to frustrate yourself and you're going to give up and you're going to blame the maker, me. It has nothing to do with the molds, you guys. Okay. All that being said, let's go over to Creation Station together. We're just going to go get crack-a-lackin' together, and we're going to find out how to work with these type of molds that beginners seem to be having a lot of problems with. And on that note, one more side note on that, I actually have somebody who's been making bath bombs a really, really long time, and she let me know about it. I've been making these a really long time, and I never have any problems, and I'm very experienced with these, and I just can't get this mold to work. That's the bathtub hybrid with the heart bubbles. Let's go over there and see what the problem is, if there is a problem. So I thought I would show you guys just the master batching that I did the other day. This is 55 pounds worth of bath bomb mix in the red container lid. That's my bath bomb mix with all of my bubblers and my hardeners and everything else. And then we've got our citric acid separate over there in the tall green containers. And then the small green ones have my butters in it. So this is going to make things much, much easier to just go over there and grab one of each of those. That is one batch of bath bombs, which produces between 12 to 15 bath bombs for me. It's 4.5 pounds of mix total. But what you see up there is 1 day of production for me, 55 pounds worth. That's what I do. But enough about that. Let's go over to Creation Station and get busy. Okay, friends, we are over here at Creation Station. I'm going to do some demos of some molds today. I've been getting a lot of questions from a lot of different people, especially when it comes to the multis. I just had somebody actually purchase a couple of different sizes of this for something that she is making. Let me just go over, before we even start on this, let me just go over the pieces, parts of multi-molds, okay? You can clearly see that one of these trays is not like the other. Okay, so this one over here is squat. It's flatter. It's shorter. I don't know how to say it other than it's just small and it's down on your plate, okay? That is your bottom plate. This is your cylinder. Your cylinder goes on top of your bottom plate. This is your top plunger. You see how much bigger each one of these cylinder plungers is that's going to push down into your mix. So this is your top. This is your bottom. Okay? We're going to do a demo on this. We're going to do a demo on a couple of hybrids and the conversation hearts and a surprise inside Easter egg bath bomb shape. Okay? So let's get started. Right here, I have everything all ready to go. As you guys saw at the beginning of the video, I showed you guys my little rack, which is right over here next to Creation Station. And I just got done filling up all of my master batching to do my bath bombs a little bit more efficiently this year. So we already have everything already weighed out. What we're going to do is put everything into our bowl. I did not sift any of this while I was measuring it out. It's too time consuming to do that when you're filling up your master batching. So I'm going to go ahead and put my mask on now, which is, hanging around my neck at all times. Again, this is my bath bomb mix, and it has everything in here. It's got my baking soda, SLSA, SCI, SCS, cream of tartar, kaolin clay, my heavy cream powder, okay? So we're going to get this all right into the mix, and we're going to sift that through here to make sure we don't have any clumps. This citric acid we're just going to put off to the side because we don't need that until later anyhow. I make 4.5-pound batches at a time, which for me, depending on what type of mold I am using, will produce between 12 to 15 bath bombs. Sometimes I can stretch that out to 16 or 18, depending. Okay, so we're all done with this. That's ready to go. Next, we're going to put our butters into a heat-safe container, and we're going to go and melt those down. This is my cocoa butter and my shea butter. I'll be back in a second. Okay, our cocoa butter and our shea butter is all melted down. I'm going to set that off to the side because we're not ready for that just yet. I went ahead and put a whisk through here to combine everything really well. I already had my liquid portion all ready to go here, which consists of my fragrance and my bomb spray, which is witch hazel and rubbing alcohol, combination of those two things, as well as polysorbate 80. I'm not coloring this. This is going to be a white batch. Let's just get our liquids into the pool. I'll speed this up so you guys aren't bored sitting here watching me mixing. Okay, we're ready to add our cocoa butter and our shea butter. All right, and lastly, we're going to add in the citric acid. Okay, my mix is a lot more wet than I would like it, and that's because we have 42% humidity in the facility right now, which to most of you seems like absolutely nothing, but to me, that's pretty heavy. But it's been raining and snowing for days now. I do not have my dehumidifier running. I do not run that during the winter months. There's no need to. Why spike up your power bill for no reason? So this does feel a little bit more on the wet side than what I'm used to. I mean, we're good to go. It's holding together. It's not falling apart. You know what I mean? We are good to go. It's just a little more wet than I would like it to be. Anyways, let's move right along, shall we? Let's get this sucker done right off the bat, okay? So this is our 1.75-inch multi-cavity tablet mold. Like I already showed you guys, and you can see that it's concave, okay? The plunger and the bottom plate is going to make a concave, almost like a flying saucer type look, okay? And that's what makes it a tablet as opposed to just like a round sphere or a puck, all right? So we're gonna take the one that's got the smallest little cylinder, the smallest. We're gonna put that down first. Take your cylinder, put that on the top. Start filling. With these molds, with any of the multi-molds, honestly, you have to overfill. So once you get everything all in there nice and smooth, you're lightly sprinkling, you're not shoving anything down in there, you're not packing it really hard. All right. Even if you want to take your little scraper tool and just scrape that all the way along the top, that's fine. But now we need to overfill that. We need to overfill each one of these cavities. All right, get that aside. Take your top plunger plate. It's got the thicker part. Stick that on the top. And give it some pushes. I'm going to pick this up now, and I'm going to take my skewer, and I'm going to get rid of all of the mix that is inside each one of these. We created this mold to have these holes so that the mix doesn't get stuck in there permanently. That's a bear trying to get that out. So just take your skewer or whatever you have. You can use a pencil. If you have a teaspoon or something that's skinny as far as the handle is concerned, go ahead and use that. Give it a couple little taps just to try to get rid of some of the loose stuff. Let's get rid of all that mix. I'll worry about cleaning up the table later. So we're just going to give some pushes. Now we're going to bring in our handy dandy arbor press. We just put the pieces up for sale that we have modified for this press. It's a bottom plate and a plunger attachment. So go ahead and stick your mold in there. I prefer this, you guys, to a juice press because as you can see, the plunger on here is skinny, whereas a juice press is fairly large. It's at least 2.5, if not 3 inches or better. And so for me, I need something that's smaller. Some of my molds are small. If I had a really big plunger piece on a juice press and I had a little small mold, well, I'm not going to be able to press down in the middle on the top part of that mold to be able to compact that. I have to turn it this way, you guys, because I'm right-handed. All right, so I'm just going to move it around as I'm giving it some presses. And it may sound and seem like I'm really, you know, banging the crap out of it. I'm not. It's not hurting anything. But I want to try to get at least most of the cavities. Of course, if you don't have one of these or any type of a press really, just do it by hand. That's enough of that. We've made enough of a mess. Move you out of the way, big boy. Sorry, I like to clean as I go. I really hate a messy workstation. It bothers me. All right, let's bring our tray up here. All right, we've got everything packed in. Now I'm going to turn it over. So now this is the bottom with the short cups, okay, on the bottom plate. This is the bottom. I'm going to take this off first. And here's what your tablets should look like. Nice and clean, firm, crisp, no cracking, no crumbling, no none of that nonsense. Now, what I do is I will take this, I just took this off, right? This is the bottom plate. I'm going to turn it over so that the flat part is now down in the bottom and these cups are facing up towards me. And I'm going to turn this back over. Okay, now we're going to lift off on what is the top plunger with the longer pieces of each cylinder. And this is what your tablets look like on the other side. So sometimes you can just take your cylinder and just lift it right off and your pucks will remain. Sometimes you need to give it some taps with a spoon. Sometimes you might need to give it a little bit of a press with your finger to get those out. It's the nature of this type of mold. There's nothing wrong with the mold. It's just the nature of it because you're not having two cups that are going to be pushing back and forth going through each end of your cylinder like you would a regular one. So let's just try to take this off. I'm going to give some gentle little pushes here. Okay, so see, it's not really budging too much. So I'm going to have to use my spoon to do some taps. I'm going to say this. Let me just move this over because if you are unfamiliar with working with 3D bath bomb molds to begin with, this is not a mold for you. None of the multis are going to be good for you. You're going to get frustrated. Things aren't going to work out for you. You're going to get upset. You're going to get pissed off at the person who created the mold. It has nothing to do with the mold. You need to be somewhat experienced anyways in working with these type of multi-cavity molds. These are for advanced makers, not beginners who have never even worked with a 3D bath bomb mold before. But at any rate, it's a little rough around the edges right now just because I had to do some pushing. But brush that off. Here you go. Here's a beautiful tablet, a 1.75-inch tablet. There's no cracks, there's no breaks, there's no fissures. It's not crumbling. It's absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So let me just clean up a couple of these edges. Okay, you guys, and that's it. Here are your beautiful 1.75-inch tablets using the multi-press mold. So you guys just saw how I did that. The same principle applies, you guys. Just keep that in mind if you're working with multis, okay? The same principle applies. It doesn't matter what size it is. This is a 1.75-inch. One of my customers is having a little bit of a problem molding and unmolding a 1-inch. It's the same principle. This is the exact same mold as our 1-inch. We just made this bigger, that's all. So everything that I just did is the exact same way that you're going to do this in the 1-inch or the 2-inch or any other size or any other multi for that matter. You're going to have a bottom plate. You're going to have a top plunger plate, okay? Whichever plate has the smallest, most squat piece, that is your bottom. The larger pieces that are attached, that's your top plunger piece, okay? So I hope that helped you guys as far as the tablet mold is concerned. Give me a second to clean all of this up. I'm going to do a couple more demos. All right, let's continue on. I'm going to do a couple of demos of the Conversation Hearts bath bomb mold that we sell. Hold please, I'm trying to get it and my fingers are slipping around. And it comes with 7 plates. All right, so the bottom plate is plain, and then it's got a top plunger, and then of course your outer shell. And then it comes with True Love, Kiss Me, Be Mine, XOXO, Soulmate, and Marry Me. So let's do the XOXO, okay? Let's just try that one. All right, so that's the bottom plate. We're going to put that on the bottom. We're going to put the shell on the top. We're going to sprinkle some mix in here. I am not putting embeds in here. I'm not keeping these bath bombs. We don't do any events in January, February, March, and some of April, like the first half of April, maybe the first week or so. We don't do events. So I don't do Easter events. I don't do Valentine's Day events. So there's no point in me keeping these. Anyways, lightly sprinkle, okay? Now, this is what I want to say. We're going to see if this works by not doing what I normally tell people to do. We're going to just do this the normal way, okay? Because people are having an awful time, I guess, trying to get these to unmold. But we didn't do what I normally do. I'll get to that in a second. Let's take our plunger, stick that on the top. We're going to use our handy dandy arbor press here. See, you can see, I don't know, can you guys see? You see how small the top of this mold is? If I had something that was 3 inches in diameter, that's not going to press down. It's going to get caught up on the outside edges of the cylinder, and it's not going to press down on your plunger, which is where you need it to press down on, which is why I prefer using the arbor press as opposed to a juicer. And I've had 2 juicers. And I did try to modify them. That did not work. All right, that's good enough. Let's give our taps, as we always do, around the outside cylinder first, and then the top, and then the bottom. This is how I unmold. Again, you guys have heard me say this, oh gosh, ad nauseum. Ask 10 different makers. They're going to tell you 10 different ways. Every single creator and maker has their own way of doing things that is comfortable for them. This is what's comfortable for me. I take my fingers on the bottom. I put my thumb rather, on the top of the cylinder, just below that top plunger. And I push up. All right, so this is actually the bottom. We're going to turn it over, get rid of that plunger. Get your flip plate or your piece of cardboard, turn it over, and we're going to try to gently remove this and see if those details came out without doing what I tell people to do all the time. Let's see if this works without doing that. And there you go. Absolutely lovely, beautiful. No finger presses needed, which is what I tell people to do all the time. Since that came out really lovely, we're going to go ahead and put it back in there because, again, we don't do Valentine or Easter or what's the other one? St. Patrick's Day. We don't do any of those. Our first event is in the beginning of April, but it's an art walk. Okay, so let's just get rid of this. Again, this is what it looks like. And see, I just threw it in there, you guys. I threw it in there. And still, look, it's beautiful. The details came out beautiful. All right, but let's crumble that up because we're not going to keep it. Now, people are having issues trying to get this to unmold for them. And I keep saying this over and over too. I hate to sound like this, you guys, because it sounds kind of witchy, right? But I want you guys to be successful. And so if you're going to be successful, you kind of have to pay attention to what it is I'm telling you on how to do it. If you don't do it that way and you have a completely different mix, let's say that it's so completely wet and soggy, it's going to pull all these letters right on out of that bath bomb. As soon as you try to unmold that, it's going to rip all those letters out of there. If your mix is way too dry and crumbly, it's not going to form in the first place. So you're going to have issues. So let's get rid of this plate and let's do... Here you go, Soulmate. Let's do Soulmate, all right? We're going to put that down on the bottom. We're going to put our shell on the top. We're going to sprinkle just a little bit this time. Give our shakes to get all of our mix down in the cracks and crevices. Take your finger and do some light finger pokes. That's what I tell everybody to do. When we are creating our molds, we choose to put our designs on the bottom plate. In my personal experience of doing this for a really long time, that's best for me to get details to on mold. When there are designs on the top plunger and you're using that to get your impression of those details, it's a crapshoot. Half the time it comes out, half the time it doesn't. I've never had a problem with the design being on the bottom plate, and that's how we choose to design our molds. Again, take your finger, do some light presses. You're not cramming it down in, you're not packing it really hard, you're just doing some very light finger presses around those details to try to ensure that they come out if you are having a problem. As you guys just saw, I don't have problems doing that. But listen, I'm not everybody, and everybody is not me. There's a lot of beginners out there, you know what I mean? And they're not proficient in this yet. But if you follow these tips and tricks, you guys, you will be. I promise you will be. But you have to follow them, right? Okay, take your plunger again. Put that on the top. Give it one little press. Love, love, love this arbor press, and it has saved my shoulders incredibly. What's a good angle? Can you guys see? How's that? Is that a better angle? All right, let's get our taps. Fingers on the bottom. Thumbs on the top. We're going to push up with our fingers. There we go. Turn it over because this is your plunger. Take that plunger off of the top. Flip plate. Be gentle. Don't yank it. You're going to rip those letters right on off of there if you yank it. Give it a little bit of a wiggle like I just did. Very slight little wiggle. You're going to be able to tell, will it lift off or won't it? And it will. And there's our soulmate. All right, I'm going to get rid of that, and we're going to do one more just to be fair so you guys can see that this method works for every single one of these plates. It's not plate specific. It's not just by chance or that I got lucky. This is the way you do it. Is it the only way you do it? No. Is this my way of doing it to be successful? Yes. All right, so we did soulmate. We did X's and O's. Let's do marry me. Oh, okay. You know, my husband proposed to me on February 11th of 2015 because he did not want to be that cliche person and ask his girlfriend to marry him on Valentine's Day. So he did it on February 11th instead. All right, here we go. We're going to do another one without doing the finger presses. And again, I have to say this could, I'm not saying that it does. I am not, so black and white that I think that my way is the only way to do it. I will give you guys tips and tricks that I use that have made me successful for 22 years of selling bath bombs. And they are my #1 selling product, hands down. So a lot of the problems that people are having could be related to, I just can't get a good angle here. That's better. Related to your bath bomb mix to begin with. But here's the good news. On every single order that we receive, when we send it out, I send you my personal recipe. This recipe that I'm using, which works, and it works well. If you guys don't care to use something like this, I have another video in my basic bath bomb series, and it's a bare bones basic bath bomb recipe. It has no bubblers in it. It has no butters in it, but it works. So check out your recipe, use the tips and tricks that I have shown you guys, and you'll be successful, you guys. Take your time, be patient, take some breaths if you need to. People, I think, stress themselves out way too much when it comes to bath bomb making. It's not that serious, you guys. You're supposed to be having fun. There you go. No finger presses needed. With my recipe. With your recipe, you may need to do some finger presses. But the point is, if you guys are asking for help, you have to kind of listen to the help that's given, right? I'm not trying to be, mad about it or anything like that, but I have so many people that message me that are beginners, which is fine, which is great. And I love to see that. Love to see that. Please make these bath bombs, man. And if you need help, listen, I try to the best of my ability, and I'm going to tell you this too. There are a real lot of times that I will answer messages while I am at home at nighttime with my family, which I swore I would never do, because once I leave this soap shop at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock every day, that's it. I'm done. My business day is done. But guess what? I get messages all the freaking time because I'm a supplier. And if a supplier is not getting back to you at all, that's a problem. Stop purchasing from them. If they are not getting back to you in a relatively timely manner, I would question whether or not I would want to continue supporting that business. That's part of being in business, customer service. And so when people are purchasing things from me and they're having a difficult time, most of the reasons is because they're brand new and they just have never worked with anything like this before. And so they're very unfamiliar and they're uncomfortable with it, and that's okay. So I break my own rules all of the time, and I'm answering messages. As long as I'm awake and not in my bed snoring, I'm answering messages. Just wanted you guys to know that, because I've heard some other people complaining about some other suppliers and how they just don't ever get back to them. They don't respond. They don't answer their questions. They offer no help. That's why I have this channel for you guys, so that I can help you guys be successful in your bath bomb journey, and you will be. All right, let's tackle this little beast. People are having problems with this too. This is a hybrid, okay? This is not a 3-piece mold. It's a hybrid. This one, I am going to do some finger presses because the details on this particular mold are a little bit on the deep side. And so I am going to give some very, very light finger presses. I'm going to give it some packing. All right, take your scraper, whatever kind of scraper you have. We make and sell this one. I absolutely adore this. It's ergonomical. Love, love, love this. All right, we're going to scrape off that top because you need to do that. Well, let me not say that you need to. Guess what? We don't need to do anything when it comes to bath bombs. You don't need to do anything. It is helpful if you were to scrape off the top and make it completely flat. Now what I do is I go all the way around the outside edges, the perimeter, and I give it some thumb presses down in there, and then go in the middle just to even things out. But I definitely want to make sure that everything all around that outside perimeter is intact and it won't crumble when I try to unmold it. All right, we are good to go. Take your flip plate and turn that over. This one, and a lot of the hybrids actually, because you created a whole bunch of suction. It's going to take a few taps to get this to release. What I like to do is tap all the way around the side first, and then I'll tap on the top. All right, and then just gently lift right on up and out of there. If you're feeling any resistance whatsoever, keep tapping. You can hear it when it releases. There's a distinct difference in the tone of your tapping. It sounds hollow. Now, there's nothing stuck in here, but this is a tricky one. you're going to have to really take your time with this one. Hold on, let me blow some of the... All right, and there's your bathtub with your heart bubbles. How cute is this? It's really cute, you guys. So I'll go ahead and I'll leave that one. That's one that I could probably paint and use later. But so we did our finger presses. Let's see if we can do it without any finger presses. Let's see what the difference is, if any. When you are pressing down like this, I'm up on my tippy toes and my body weight is directly above my hand so that I'm working with proper body mechanics and I'm not putting stress on my wrist or my shoulder. I am directly above my whole body right now. See, here I am. So work properly, you guys, so you don't hurt yourselves. All right, we're going to go ahead and do some scrapes again. Let's do some finger presses around. This isn't necessary. This is just something that I do to ensure that my edges don't crumble when I'm unmolding, because I'm tapping pretty hard, you guys, and you are tapping the sides. All right, good to go. Flip plate, turn it over, get your tapping. Up and off. If there's any resistance, keep tapping. This is a relatively deeper hybrid. I think it's a little more than 1 inch. And here we go again. All right, you guys, so now we have seen how to do the bathtub with the heart bubbles. And we've seen how to do the conversation hearts with all of the different bottom plates that have all those different designs all over it. I'm actually going to go ahead and crumble up this other bathtub, the bathtub, because I have a lot of other bath bombs that I actually do need to make today, so I can use this mix for that. I'm just giving this a good little mix here with my hands. All right. Okay, we've done the bathtub with the heart bubble. We've done the conversation hearts with all the different plates. The multi-press I already put over there by the sink so that I could go ahead and wash that up. All right, let's do another hybrid mold. This is our F-bomb. Drop that F-bomb, people. Let's go. Now, this one is relatively deep as far as the design is concerned. So even though this is a hybrid and most new people can work these fairly, well, this is a relatively deep design right here. So be aware of that. You may or may not need to do your finger presses. I'm going to try this without doing it. Scrapey, scrapey. All right, let's go around that perimeter. Grab your flip plate. Turn it over and start tapping. And there's your beautiful F-bomb. No cracks, no crumbling, smooth as silk, beautiful. That one I'm keeping. Okay, you guys, one more for today, and that's going to do it. I'm going to go about my merry little business here because I've got some bath bombs to make for a custom order. Okay, the last one we are going to do is going to be an egg-shaped bath bomb mold, and it says Bath Bomb Surprise on the inside. So you guys can put a little toy in here. What I would say about that for this particular mold is use a flat, like a flat eraser, as your toy. If you try to put a round ring in here, it's going to crack on both sides because it's just not deep enough. This is going to be flat on one side, and then the other side will be raised, and it will say Bath Bomb Surprise. You can't fit one of these in here and then cover it because the top of this is flat. There's not enough room. But we do make a round bath bomb that says Bath Bomb Surprise. That's up on the website now. This will be going up. All right, take your bottom cup, put your cylinder, fill, shake, take your your top plunger, which is flat, and there's your beautiful half of an egg of your Bath Bomb Surprise shaped like an Easter egg. Again, you guys can see the depth of this, right? It's not very deep at all. So if you're going to put a Bath Bomb Surprise in here, which you should, because that's what it says to do, make sure that it's something that's flat. Okay, that's going to do it for this video today. I hope you guys learned something. I hope this was helpful. We did several different types of molds. If you guys need any further assistance, any help, reach out to me. I try to get back to everybody in a timely fashion. It might be a good 24 hours, but I absolutely do get back to everybody every single time. One other thing I wanted to mention as far as the plates are concerned, so obviously these are the conversation hearts. We also have the flat egg set, which has multiple different types of bottom designs on each one of the plates that comes with the eggs. Same principle. I'm not going to be doing another video on that. I don't even have an egg set myself to work with. Again, we don't do Easter, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day. We don't do those type of events at all. So I don't make those type of products, okay? So I don't even have an Easter egg one here to demo for you today. I have done the demos on those before, but it's the same principle is my point. A plate is a plate is a plate, and we like to use the same type of a font, which comes out a little bit easier. So for those of you that are having a really, really hard time, I hope you learned something from this video and that it helped you in your bath bomb journey. Okay, that's going to do it for me. I'm going to get rolling. I've got a lot more bath bombs that I need to make today. Let me just crumble that egg right on back up. Now see, my mix is getting a little bit on the dry side because I've been messing around here for too long. Okay, you guys, that is going to do it for me. So until we meet again, be kind and stay humble. Please take care of yourselves. I'll see you soon.